And don't worry, you haven't clicked on the wrong address. Millzebub's just being a little under the weather, so I'm making a video for him. I was going to be talking about the new law in Brunei where they are going to be stoning LGBTQ people to death. Um, this law is thankfully getting a lot of attention and a lot of negative attention, um, but there's a bit more to it than just stoning LGBTQ people to death. And this law is casts a wide net. They are including apostates, blasphemers, those who insult the prophet, adulterers, um, and there are some criminals listed in there as well. So people who've committed rape and I believe murder as well are included in this. The reason I'm talking about this is I want to look at what I think is partly the reason for this. I mean, obviously, it's religion. They're enacting a very strict form of Sharia based on a very literal interpretation of Islam. And the other thing that this is a part of, and another thing that is part of this, sorry, I should say, is it's insecurity, it's cowardice, it's fear. Um, I've said this all along. Blasphemy laws, apostasy laws, um, laws for being the wrong kind of Muslim. You know, all of that is fear. Uh, you're so afraid that something is going to shake the faithful and something's going to draw them away from the faith that you need to destroy it. And this is just people telling you, people who are pushing this kind of idea are telling you right away that they have no confidence in their faith. They have no confidence in their beliefs. They have no confidence in what they're saying. And the only way they can protect it and the only way they can carry it forward is by violence. Now, just getting back to the original thing of stoning LGBTQ people to death, Brunei already had the death penalty for this. It's one of 13 countries that would, execute people for being LGBTQ, and they're all Muslim countries. They're all based on Islamic teachings, and they're using the laws from the scripture, um, mainly the Hadith, and they're using that as justification to kill people for living their life and being who they want to be and loving who they want to love. Now, the other countries that are doing this, I mean, Afghanistan does this, and they've been stoning people. They're not introducing it; that's how they've done it. I mean, we all saw what ISIS was doing, throwing them off tall buildings or cliffs. Um, you know, this is something that's part of a strict fundamentalist view of Islam, and it's also a very literal reading. Um, there are Muslim countries that will have penalties, but they're not going to kill you, and even the penalties I don't agree with. Obviously, there should be no penalty for anything like that. But I've also seen a little bit, not so much in this case, but in a couple of other cases that are similar to this and kind of in the periphery of this, where criticizing it because it's just so soon after the Christchurch shooting, you know, being told that you shouldn't criticize Muslims because 50 Muslims were just killed. Now, people being killed is horrific, and I can't say enough bad about that. But this is also horrific, and this needs to be called out. This needs to be spoken out about. This is just you, you know, I can't not speak out about this. And like I said, the stuff that's kind of on the periphery of this is if you're looking what's happening in the UK, especially believe it's in Birmingham. Uh, Muslim families are protesting schools because they're teaching kids, they're having sex ed for kids and they're teaching the kids about LGBTQ communities. And they're incensed even at the mention that those communities exist. And I have friends who are ex-Muslim and they're LGBTQ and they're protesting this, and there are Muslim reformers that are protesting this, and they're being told that they're being racist and bigoted for speaking out against Muslims, especially how dare they now so close to what happened in Christchurch. Um, I think you can't do that. I'm not asking people, and I won't listen to the people who are vilifying Muslims in general. Um, look for the people who are talking about the ideology itself, and just take a listen to what people are saying. It's really simple to find it out if you're talking about the ideology or if you're talking about specific people or swathes of people. And just on that, there are specific people I think it is fair to call out. Like the Sultan of Brunei right now, I would call him out. He's being homophobic. He's he's being a coward, um, and he's doing something extremely barbaric. So that needs to be called out. Um, again, I wouldn't have any problem calling out someone like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS. You know, that's a person that needs to be called out. That's a person that you can call him out by name and list off all the horrible things he's done. But like I said, don't people who are speaking out about what's going on in Brunei, people who are speaking out about what's going on in Birmingham, um, speaking out about what's going on in Chechnya, and some of the former Soviet republics, even in Russia itself. Like I believe in Chechnya, they're throwing homosexuals into concentration camps. I mean, these are all things we can speak out about. They're all ideologies. They might come from different sources, but it's all hatred towards someone else. So I just wanted to speak a little bit about what's going on in Brunei, bring some attention to it, and like I said, this is not just targeting one group of people. And if even if it was, that's still horrible. And but just take a look at the greater law and what it's trying to do. And it's like I said, it's people who blaspheme, people who make fun of Mo, um, apostates, adulterers, and I mean it's. And then take a look at some of the definitions. Um, going a bit off topic here, Saudi Arabia has said they're going to crack down on atheism, and they've made on terrorism, and they've made atheism a terrorist offense. Oh yeah, sure, they can classify people as terrorists, crack down on them, and say, look, we've gotten all these terrorists, but all they've got are atheists. You know, um, so like I said, it's if you see things like this, speak out against it. If you see things that are against your core fundamental foundational principles and beliefs, speak out against them. Um, Even if you're not a member of that community. Uh, that's one thing I see a lot of. Uh, you know, you can't speak out about that because you're not part of X. And let's help each other. We need to. I mean, you know, let's call attention to the law in Brunei, but let's also call attention to the laws in those other 13 countries. Let's not just focus on this one country because it's in the news now. Let's focus on the ideology. Let's call it out wherever we can see it. Um, Anyways, that's all I've really got to say. I hope you liked it. And if you got any hate, please throw it towards me, not towards BMillzebub, because he had no hand in this. Thanks.